Hello Factorio people, welcome back to the broadcasts from Krastorio. Last time we set up purple tech cards, production tech cards. So that means the yellow tech cards, utility tech cards, are on the menu today. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to do all that YouTube algorithm stuff. Other than that, let's jump straight into it, shall we? I built some defender robots, or automated defender robots, just so that we can go out and start clearing biter bases a bit easier. Medium and big biters have arrived. Let's open the milestones up here. They almost have arrived. They will arrive. They're not far away from arriving. And the pollution cloud is manageable still, due to well, not due to the pollution filters helping the air purifiers, but they're definitely doing something. But you know, we got some worrisome issues down here. The best defense is, of course, a good offense, as it always is. So, just build some defender robots. This will build poison capsules when the recipe is researched. I also like to make a clarification on my frankly outrageous claim that you only need 8,570 military tech cards to research everything in the tech tree. What appears to have happened is that I thought all of the items in red were absolutely everything in the game. But what this seems to not account for, what I didn't account for, was the fact that follower robot count 1, for example, has 9 levels of follower robot count underneath it that don't show up in the tree, because why would they? When you do follower robot count 1, follower robot count 2 appears. So there are thousands of military tech cards just in this one. So yes, very incorrect. That's not a massive issue. I still don't think it's worth automating this any more than this. There are 2,500 tech cards in the backlog already. We're still beholden to the amount of biomass that we can go and collect. You can create biomass in a bio lab somewhere, if I've researched that. But I'm perfectly content with just going out and about in the car every now and then, clearing out some of the bases, bring the biomass back. So this save file was made just before I did that. Nothing else happened in between save files, really. Just got Purple Science set up, and then immediately started researching things that didn't need it. So that's good. Okay, let's jump a little bit forwards in time, shall we? So we want yellow tech cards. Yellow tech cards need processing units, low density structures, and rocket fuel. Processing units require rare metals in place of green circuits. Rare metals come from rare metal patches, unsurprisingly. But much like uranium, they need a fluid to mine, and that fluid is chlorine. Chlorine comes from... I think the only place you get chlorine is... You get it as a byproduct from lithium chloride production, of course. Yeah, you get it from putting sand in an electrolysis plant with hydrogen as a byproduct. So I am-denied for a long time about what to do here. This process needs water. You can use the hydrogen with some oxygen from atmospheric condensers to just get some of the water back. You don't get enough water, you don't get enough hydrogen from the process to refeed back in, so you would still need the water pump, and you would need a lot of oxygen to keep up with this process. So I didn't think that was viable. So all I'm doing is I'm actually just venting the hydrogen, which creates pollution, which is why I've put a couple of air purifiers up here as well. I'm not a huge fan of just venting the byproducts, it seems wasteful. But it's only hydrogen, am I right? So you may have noticed, I can't remember whether it was there or not, a little landfill factory here, which I decided to get rid of so that I could have stone mining up here. So we get some landfill. We're going to need a lot of landfill, I feel like, in this so far. There's quite a lot of water. This is obviously our territory. So we're going to need a lot of landfill if we want to make that a decent space for trains and things. I am thinking about megabase. Everything I'm doing is, in theory, megabase prep. But we'll see. So some landfill, some extra stone, goes into sand, goes into electrolysis plants, goes into the rare metal mining, and comes back into the base and makes rare metals in a smelter. I did say before that we wouldn't need any more smelting. I thought I was so smart by putting all my smelting stacks over here. But it has kind of worked out in a way, because you don't need rare metals before this point on the bus, so busing them all the way down would have been a bit of a waste. So we got away with it. We got away with it, folks. Right, now that the rare metals are coming to the base, we can start getting some production lines set up. So let's. Processing units. And it was around this time that power started to become an issue. So knowing that I would need some solar panels and some accumulators for rocket launches anyway, I just built a little thing here. Immediately regretting not putting batteries on the bus. So I have a battery thing here. This doesn't make enough batteries to actually supply all of these, but whatever. And I started putting some solar panels down just in my generic. This is slightly different from vanilla, obviously, because the power poles have a different range, but I think it's functionally the same. Just to bolster our power ever so slightly. As soon as you get yellow tech cards, you can research logistics, requester chests, provider chests, and things like that. So we can build a proper mall. That's the long-term plan from yellow tech cards. We can build a bot mall, and we can tidy up quite a lot of this. This can go. This probably can go. Maybe we can put batteries on the bus. You know. You'll also start to notice that now that processing units are in, processing units take advanced circuits, which take electronic components and green circuits. Electronic components take glass and silicon and all of that. The bus is starting to get a little bit sparse. It's going to get worse before it gets better, especially when I put low density structures in. And this is still a bit of a mess, isn't it? Quartz is not keeping up. Sand is not keeping up, which means glass is not keeping up. But anyway, let's plough on and see what we can do about that. So So the low density structures go in. You need a lot of low density structures. A lot more than this. This is just here. This is 16 factories. I think you need something more like 50. Based on my calculations. And so then this is putting a strain on plastic and copper as well. This also put quite a large strain on the sulfuric acid, a lot more than I planned for, because obviously my calculations didn't account for having to make lots of solar panels and accumulators, just enough for the satellite. Oh, I'm running on the belts, because I finally got around to building power armor, although I haven't filled it with anything more than what we gave ourselves at the beginning of the game. So yeah, sulfuric acid starts to run out. Plastic is fine. Steel is running out. Copper is running out. So we need to bolster the inputs, basically. We finally hit the limit on what we can achieve with this. And I finally moved the labs. I think I moved the labs before the start of the episode, and I forgot to mention it. How are we doing on military tech card production? Bad. Production is research is currently off because the labs, especially with the productivity modules in, use a lot of power. They're not doing anything, so I can't. But I did go and get some biomass. There's still 54 biomass in there, 65 research cards in there. It's all a bit, you know, it's all a bit of a mishmash. But we need to go on quite a big housekeeping run here with this if we want to stabilise. Because sulfuric acid, don't forget, goes into blue tech cards, so that is also something that needs to be fixed if we want to maintain our science levels at a decent pace. So let's go and fix quite a lot of things. So I finally got around to tidying up the stone patch. The stone patch is mixed with the coal, unfortunately. But that's mostly easily sorted with some priority splitters. This belt balancer atrocity here sends some of the stone over to an enlarged quartz factory, quartz module build. This still isn't enough for when we get to the actual levels of quartz and silicon production that will need to be launching rockets, but it is at least, if I double it up on this side, it will be enough. So for now it's okay, and the space is there. I really need to turn this iron patch around so it faces left to right, so that I can utilise this last little bit here of copper, because copper is expanded but still not keeping up. And of course we're still only on the one red belt of copper, and we will need 2 red belts of copper once the demand for low density structures is as high as it will be. Steel production is fine once we upgraded to the steel furnaces. Green circuits is fine. Sulfuric acid is still running out, which I don't know is for a little while. But mostly it was the stone mine, to be honest with you, because some of the stone was going into sand, which was going into quartz, and some of the stone was going into sand, which was going into glass. And both of those go into electronic components. So mostly that was the problem. It was the increased demand for red circuits because processing units went down. That was mostly the issue. And the other small thing I did was abused the warehouse functionality. I talked before about warehouses and loaders being quite overpowered in terms of logistics. So these uranium processing centrifuges here create enough. They certainly create enough iron to constantly supply one assembler making concrete. They supply enough, but they don't supply enough stone to make the bricks. But still. And we got a little bit of a 235 backing up here as well. So we can start thinking about doing Covarex at some point way, way, way down the line. Nuclear power is certainly going to be on the cards soon. But again, we're relying heavily on the yellow tech cards to come in so that we can make a bot mall for nuclear powered reactors and heat sinks and all of those kinds of things. Of course, the problem with that is that I'm going to have to put those items in requester chests because I decided to not bus things like quartz, which go into heat pipes, and bricks and concrete, which go into nuclear reactors. You know, we may run into some problems, but it's nothing a few logistics robots can't fix, I'm sure. Alright, so with that out of the way, we can look at rocket fuel, the last ingredient for the utility tech cards, rocket fuel. Rocket fuel has a few recipes, and it's up to you really which one you want to use. There's one that involves light oil, there's one that involves ammonia, and there's one that involves pass. Hydrogen chloride, that's right. I've elected to use the light oil one because I am doing all the oil cracking. And otherwise, light oil doesn't do anything, so I may as well use all the light oil, seeing as because I bothered to set it all up and did all that. And this should provide enough light oil. Even just this bit should provide enough light oil before we even crack the heavy oil down. So we shouldn't have a problem there with the demand for light oil and the demand for petroleum at the same time. Because obviously that's the problem, is once you start using this oil cracking turns off. So these start to empty. Your pump with a circuit condition that says only crack light oil when you've got an overabundance of it stops pumping, which stops providing a secondary supply of petroleum into these tanks, which are feeding into the plastic. All of that to say, shouldn't be a problem. So let's plop a rocket fuel build down, as I have made. Quite happy with it, to be honest with you. Quite happy. So, light oil and oxygen from some atmospheric condensers in a fuel refinery. Fuel refineries are quite slow, and the recipe itself is also quite slow at 16 seconds. So this is enough rocket fuel to launch the rockets at the pace we were talking about earlier, 60 cards per minute. What are the cards called? I've forgotten. Optimization tech cards, that's right. Get rid of the flashing. So it's quite a lot. These are the atmospheric condensers. I didn't show them off before. They just pull oxygen from the atmosphere for free. Well, not for free, obviously they take power, but there's also a recipe that does this for hydrogen and for nitrogen at varying rates. So you can make this recipe with the ammonia because you can make the ammonia from the hydrogen and the nitrogen from the atmospheric condensers, but as I say, it comes down to power was my main concern. I didn't want to add more buildings than strictly necessary. Here's my solar farm that's very quickly expanding and turning into a mess, but I kind of like it in a way. It's got an organic sort of spreading. naturally vibe to it. And it's certainly helping. Once we move to nuclear power, then we can just repurpose these solar panels and accumulators into rocket launchers, so it's not the end of the world. Every one that we build now is just one we don't have to build for further rocket launchers down the line. So yeah, that's a lot of rocket fuel. That is a lot of rocket fuel. But finally we have everything we need to make yellow tech cards. I finally noticed that the sulfuric acid was running dry. Mostly because the blue tech cards ran out. So I bolstered the sulfuric acid build ever so slightly. Just for that. Yeah. Which also meant I gained a bit of space here. Got to tidy this up slightly and got to put the storage tanks in nice neat little rows here with all the different fluids. So that's kind of nice, I guess. And thankfully in Krastorio sulfur doesn't go into anything at all that isn't sulfuric acid. Oh, and explosives, but you know, like... There are so many military options in Krastorio. Explosives aren't really that big of a loss, in my opinion. In my opinion, anyway. Alright, let's get the yellow tech cards done, shall we? And then we're all good. We're all good. And there we go, created the first utility tech card at 14 hours, 34 minutes and 43 seconds. Not particularly fast. Here are the milestones as they are. There are the big biters. I said they were coming, didn't I? I did say they were coming. Yeah, utility tech. It only took me 4 hours from production tech, that's fine. We had a lot to do, it's okay. It's a simple build, much simpler than purple. As everybody knows from vanilla, you do purple and then you do yellow and it's like, oh actually yellow's quite easy, isn't it? So we got yellow tech. The first thing on the list, probably the first thing on the list, is going to be the logistics system. Because, yeah, we are running into some problems with the base. The base is finally creaking under the pressure. Iron is drying up. You can see from the resource monitor up here we got orange text. It says 9 hours, but 9 hours of less and less and less production than this. Copper is also drying up. Now we've got a decent supply of iron and copper here, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried about how we future-proof this base. Because I would like this base to supply the basic science and the megabase expansion. I'm just concerned that if we plop in, if we make rockets here, which is eminently doable. We need rocket control units and then we're done. Sorry, get rid of this flashing. If we make rocket control units, we can make the silo. Hello? What was that? We can make the silo. We can make the optimization tech cards. Apparently, can we do that? Why do we need all of this? Because we need Immersite, because we need AI cores, because we need quantum computers, because we need singularity labs, because regular labs don't fit optimization tech cards, do they? No, of course not. Yikes. That's going to be a big yikes from me. Okay, well, we can at least we can at least think about doing that. I mean, the satellite is not too bad. We just have to get all of this research done, and then we can launch the satellite, and then we can think about... We can just stockpile the cards for a bit, I guess. So if we put the rocket control units down, and then put the rocket silo down. That is as long as this base needs to be. My concern is putting the logistics mall at the end, the bot base mall at the end, is going to cause a decent drain on all of the supplies, but how much of an issue that ends up being in reality, I don't know. The logistics mall in Krastorio will obviously be quite large because we've got all of this and a lot more to come. So we will see. We will see how this goes. But I will sit down and try and think about it. Think about a good plan. Because I honestly haven't thought any further ahead than launching rockets. And as you can tell, I kind of forgot that rockets needed all of this stuff. My goodness me. We'll talk about this next time. I don't want to drag the episode out for any longer than is strictly necessary right now. So yes, we got yellow tech cards done. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like and a comment. And if you want to see more Krastorio, be sure to subscribe. Other than that, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.